Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Model Kit Review. In today's fun classic model kit review video, we'll be looking at the Accurate Miniatures 1/48 scale IL-2. This version of the IL-2 is the earlier single-seat version. This is Accurate Miniatures kit number 3408. This kit was originally released in 1997, and it remains the only early type straight wing IL-2 in 1/48 scale. In this video, I'll give a brief history of the IL-2. We'll take a look at what comes in the box. We'll talk about the surface detailing on the exterior of the kit. We'll also talk about the fit of the major components. We'll look at the detail on the smaller parts that make up the landing gear and the interior. We'll look at the color and marking guide, and we'll talk about the included marking options in the kit, as well as the quality of the decals themselves. I'll also mention any aftermarket parts that I plan to use during this build. I'll go over any modifications that I made to the kit parts, and I'll talk about any problem areas that I encountered during the construction phase of this build. Looking at the history of the IL-2 Type 1 Stormovik, this aircraft was developed to meet the Soviet Army's requirement for a ground attack aircraft that could support the infantry. The aircraft was armor-plated from the cockpit forward, and that was reason enough for it to be called the flying tank. The 4 to 7 millimeter plating was designed to protect the pilot and vital components from ground fire. The addition of this armor resulted in an extremely heavy and unwieldy airplane that was very prone to attack by enemy aircraft, especially from the rear. After the plane suffered appalling losses, the decision was made to add a gunner's compartment behind the fuel tank. This two-seat aircraft was known as the IL-2M. In spite of the enormous losses suffered by the Stormovik, the IL-2 was considered to be one of the most effective weapons in the Soviet arsenal. These aircraft may have been relatively crude, but their great number, there were approximately 40,000 produced, made the IL-2 series one of the world's most significant aircraft. The IL-2 was powered by a liquid-cooled V12 engine. Armament on the IL-2 consisted of 2 machine guns and 2 23mm cannon in the wings. It could also carry a heavy load of underwing rockets and bombs. I have previously built the Accurate Miniatures IL-2 M3 version of this aircraft. Any photos of the finished aircraft are from that build. If you'd like to see my IL-2 M3 review, you can click the link above. Looking at the kit instructions, one of the first things I'll mention here is that Accurate Miniatures has included a model paint reference chart. It gives you the FS number and the paint codes for multiple different paint manufacturers. Another thing that sets the Accurate Miniatures instructions apart is that they provide not only a visual guide on how things are assembled, they also include a separate, very detailed, written, step-by-step instruction of how to go about building and painting each step. In step 1, we're building up the cockpit floor and the interior. These parts really detail out nicely, and the only recommendation I would make is to add a set of seat belts to the pilot seat. Accurate Miniatures provides a clear instrument panel, and this is designed such that you paint the face of the instrument panel black and only leave the dials clear. And then you apply a decal to the back of that with the dial faces, and it gives a very nice representation of an instrument panel. In step 2, we're just adding some detail bits to the cockpit sidewalls. We're also adding the tail wheel, and then we're joining the fuselage halves together. There's a horn balance on top of the rudder. I highly suggest that after you glue the fuselage halves together, you carefully cut off this horn balance and reattach it at the end of the build. As a deviation from the instructions, I highly suggest that you glue the upper wings to each fuselage half first and let those dry thoroughly before joining the fuselage halves and continuing with construction. This will save you a lot of headache in the end. This allows you to get a perfect wing to fuselage join. It'll also help in fitting the engine cowl to the aircraft at a later step. Moving on to step 3, we are assembling the nose of the aircraft. We're also assembling the elevators and attaching those to the aircraft, as well as the completed instrument panel. The fit of the tailplanes was excellent. I would suggest gluing the nose of the aircraft together and letting it sit for about 20 minutes, and then fitting it to the front of the aircraft to make sure that you get an excellent fit to the fuselage and to the wings. In step 4, we're building up the lower wing center section. This assembly goes together very precisely, and the only change that I made was to replace part 91, and that's the air splitter for the front of the radiator, with a piece of thin plastic strip, which is much more scale appropriate. You can see that in this photo. In step 5, we're attaching the wing center section to the aircraft, and then we're continuing with the wing assembly. Once the lower wing center section assembly is completely dry, you can fit that up into the fuselage. If you followed my advice in the earlier step, once you insert the lower wing center section into the aircraft, you can then glue the lower outer wing panels to the undersides of the wings, and you should have a very nice assembly here. I did have to use a little bit of putty around the landing gear pylons themselves and on the lower wing where the outer wing panels meet up with the lower wing center section. In step 6, we're building the landing gear, and we're also assembling the underwing ordnance and attaching that to the aircraft. The landing gear on this kit details out very nicely. I use the flattened wheel option on my previous build, and I plan to use it on this build as well. In step 7, we're adding the Flettner rods, the ordnance, and the armament. Most of these I would leave off until after painting, but I recommend adding the Flettner rods, that's parts 90, 89, and 97, to the aircraft prior to painting and weathering. These parts are sturdy once they're installed, and I think it'll give a more realistic finish if they're on during the painting process. In step 8, we're building the prop and the exhaust. With some careful detail painting, I think these parts actually turn out pretty nicely. In step 9, we're adding the clear parts to the kit. On all of my builds, I add the clear parts prior to painting the kit. That way the clear parts have the same finish that the rest of the kit has, and they don't look like they were added as an afterthought. I plan on using the Edouard canopy mask for this build. I've used these before and they are excellent. One note on the sliding section of the canopy, I highly recommend thinning the rear of this part and the lower edges as well. I recommend dry fitting this until it fits nicely in the open position. That way you can display the kit with the canopy open. The clear parts look nice on the finished kit. I didn't have any issues with the clarity or the fit of mine, and I don't anticipate any problems with this one either. Looking at the color and marking guide, there is one marking option included. The marking option is for an IL-2 flying over the southern front in 1942. This can be finished in the summer camouflage. And if you want to add the winter camouflage to model the aircraft as it appeared in the winter, you can choose to do so. The decals in this kit look to be of excellent quality. I used the kit decals on my previous IL-2 build. They turned out very nicely. They were opaque, they were in register, and they settled down into the detail on the aircraft. Looking at the surface detail on the exterior of the kit, it is represented by finely engraved panel lines. These are crisp and consistent, and honestly, the surface detail was world-class when it was introduced in 1997, and it still holds up very, very well today. The fit of most of the exterior parts was excellent, although you really want to take your time with the nose section of the aircraft, and I highly suggest following the construction sequence I outlined for the wing assembly. As I said earlier, I did use a little bit of putty around the landing gear nacelles, as well as on the join between the lower outer wing section and the lower inner wing section. Well, I'm happy to say that even though this kit is the only game in town for an early IL-2 in 1/48 scale at present, I think this is a fantastic kit. I think it can be turned out very nicely. I love the fact that it has very nice detail without being overly parts heavy, and I can highly recommend this kit to intermediate modelers and above. Well, I'd love to know what you guys think. If any of you out there are IL-2 fans or Accurate Miniatures fans, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and until next time, model on.